Welcome back to St. Petersburg, the second part of our journey to Russia's former imperial capitals. I'm joining Trafalgar, one of the world's leading travel experts, on its Wonders of St. Petersburg and Moscow tour. And frankly, I'm glad I did, because you'll need an experienced company to provide a seamless and memorable holiday like they always do. With good and dependable transportation, hotel and restaurant options, exclusive guided tours, and one-of-a-kind experiences and surprises that can turn a group of strangers into close friends. A trip to St. Petersburg has been a lifelong dream, and it's everything I expected from one of Europe's most beautiful cities. Thanks to Peter the Great's foresight and the backbreaking labor of his subjects, the Tsar's vision of a modern, master-planned capital was realized and improved upon by succeeding Romanov Tsars and unintentionally by Soviet commissars. With the Soviet Union's capital back in Moscow, St. Petersburg lost its place as a nation's showcase. But this spared the city from the rigid Soviet culture and Stalinist aesthetics imposed elsewhere, preserving St. Petersburg's sophisticated streetscape and its cosmopolitan air. My guide, Helena, remembers how difficult life used to be in the Soviet era, yet how much more bearable it was because of the beauty and the creative energy of her city.
The city has its own spirit, has its own character, which stays the same. It's a city which was always famous for its artists and poets and writers. It was a kind of a free city.
Cultural expression was controlled under communism, but to advertise a revolution's success to the world, a sanitized version of the city's artistic tradition was given space to thrive.
Yep, that's Alexander Pushkin, one of Russia's greatest poets. Indeed, St. Petersburg was more than just an imperial capital. It was one of Europe's greatest cultural capitals as well. This was where the particularly Russian arts of literature, theater, ballet, classical music, and drama flourished.
From Pushkin to Stravinsky, Dostoevsky to Tchaikovsky, they all achieved greatness in St. Petersburg, thanks largely to the cosmopolitan vibe. It helped that the Tsars and nobles were generous patrons, none more so than Catherine the Great, whose paintings at the Hermitage would grow to become the world's largest collection of art.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm actually standing here right in front of the Hermitage, just one of the world's best museums, if not the best art museum. If there's one compelling reason to visit St. Petersburg, this is it. This is it.
You'll need a week, even a month, to fully appreciate the massive collection in what was once the Winter Palace of the Tsars, a series of buildings attached to each other on the banks of the Neva. The building itself is an architectural gem, and fans of Russian imperial history will appreciate the careful restoration of the palace interiors and ceremonial halls. But most come for the artistic treasures, over 3 million artworks and artifacts, from ancient Egyptian to classical antiquity, from the medieval age to the Renaissance, the Baroque period, and beyond. Highlights include the halls showcasing Italian masters and the Dutch and Flemish artists, the Peter and Paul Rubens Room most notably. And while exploring, don't forget to look up. The long perspective of the gilded and frescoed Raphael loggias are masterpieces as well. The city's performing arts traditions are equally impressive, from international ballet companies to local youth theater.
One of the highlights of a Trafalgar holiday is the Be My Guest program. And here in St. Petersburg, you don't just get to meet the locals, you get to see them perform on stage. And since this is Russia and St. Petersburg in particular, you can expect a truly powerful performance.
The St. Petersburg Theater of Youth provides young artists with a venue to hone their craft. Through your visit, Trafalgar helps support this initiative. And this being Russia, the young pool of talents is superlative and takes the classical art of pantomime to an entirely different level of artistry. Pantomime helps children learn the basics of stage performance. It develops their skills in drama and ballet, and in comedy and dance, and that extra bit of magic. No wonder the Russians are such world-class performers. They master their craft at a very young age.
I believe this is tradition. Our children learn about it from very young age, from their parents, from their teachers, and everybody wants to perform. So, well, maybe for this reason, it's concentrated in St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is the former capital of Russian Empire. We have imperial ballet and opera theaters here. We have 3 in St. Petersburg, actually.
The Be My Guest program is one of the moments I look forward to in every Trafalgar holiday. You don't just interact with locals in a way that would be rare if on your own. You also get to interact in a much more natural way.
Wait, Anton will explain.
Together. Let's go. Chin chin. Chin chin.
In Russia, that usually means with vodka. Drunk neat, bottoms up. Indeed, vodka is such a part of life here. They have a museum dedicated to that quintessential Russian spirit. The exhibit traces the story of Russia's national drink from its origins to the present day, with a lot of vodka jokes and trivia thrown in.
This is really interesting. Tsar Peter I, Peter the Great, who established St. Petersburg as the new imperial capital. Well, he wanted to discipline his people, and he imposed this rule which said that if you were late, you were forced to drink a shot of vodka, all right? But this is what the shot actually looks like. It's not a shot. It looks more like a bottle, a jug even.
Locals call it the penalty shot. Punishment for being late in Russia. Though this was probably much more of a treat, because people love vodka so much so that Tsars and Soviet commissars alike have tried and failed to ban it in the past.
Vodka was so popular with the people and still is popular in Russia. But in 1914, it was considered a threat to national security, the beginning of the First World War. And Tsar Nicholas II ordered the prohibition of vodka in the Russian Empire.
Locals joke this is why the people overthrew the Tsar. But even the Communist Party found it hard to impose the ban, and in 1925 reinstated the sale of vodka. Only for another party boss, Mikhail Gorbachev, to set a limit to the amount citizens could consume in a month. But even that experiment failed, and today you can drink as much as you want, from affordable consumer brands to rare triple distilled spirits. If you're into the fancy stuff, you need to visit the century-old Eliseyev Emporium, a grand épicerie and restaurant housed in a restored Art Nouveau building.
This beautifully decorated place has been supplying the elite of St. Petersburg with all their favorite goodies for so many decades, especially this one over here, caviar and vodka, real Russian specialties.
You'll find the best Russian vodka here, and my favorite Russian delicacy, caviar, a delicate roe of sturgeon caught wild in the Caspian Sea or farmed in Siberia. Either way, not cheap. Yes, even in Russia. You'll find other Epicurean luxuries too. French pastries, Italian delicacies, and handmade bonbons and chocolates, which you can have as matryoshka dolls or with the images of Lenin and Putin.
It's crazy what they have in its emporium. Vodka, fine cheeses from France and from Italy. You know, even during the Soviet era, apparently, this emporium was so well stocked with the best food from around the world. Yes, even while there were bread lines and food shortages in other parts of Russia. People of St. Petersburg, they came here for the best.
And that's because old habits die hard in the former imperial capital, a city which until today you can find any cuisine.
This is a really great street for restaurants. Now, because St. Petersburg is on the Baltic Sea, you'd expect a lot of Baltic cuisine here. You'll find that too, but because St. Petersburg was also the imperial capital, people from all over the vast Russian Empire came and worked here. And therefore you'll find a really diverse cuisine, like this charming Georgian restaurant.
So what is Russian cuisine? Basically, it's the national cuisines of all former Soviet republics, spanning Europe and Asia, including these rustic, hearty and tasty dishes from Georgia. No surprise, Georgian food is one of the favorites in Russia. St. Petersburg on the Baltic Sea has its own specialty, and naturally, it revolves around fish. Koryushka on the island where St. Petersburg was founded is one of the best fish restaurants in the city, and a great place to have your first taste and smell of smelt.
Okay, this is a bit too much for me, but I asked them to give me smelt cooked in different ways. And here in the restaurant, they have it smoked. This is deep fried, which is very popular. And you have this tempura style. This one has nuts in the batter. And this one over here, it's fried in a special marinade. So let's try it with the different sauces. With a view of St. Isaac's, the Hermitage, fantastic seafood. I'm really loving St. Petersburg.
It's my last meal in St. Petersburg, and this romantic setting on the River Neva and on the very spot where Peter the Great's citadel was founded is the perfect place to say farewell to one of Europe's most elegant cities. And to say das vidanya, goodbye, to one of the world's most misunderstood countries. 7 days in Moscow and St. Petersburg are not enough to appreciate a country so vast it spans 2 continents, multiple languages, and several national cultures. But this week has been filled with revelations, nevertheless, of a nation that continues to be defined by its ancient history and Orthodox faith, its imperial ambitions and utopian dreams. Das vidanya, Russia. I hope to see you again.
And that's all for our series on Russia. I'm David Celdran in St. Petersburg. Thanks for watching.